Hi world, it's Jengwin. This episode is old news. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry that it's been probably like a month now, I'm assuming, since I've put out an episode. I have been literally all over the country since the last time I shared anything with you guys. I've been to Ohio, then back to Indiana, to El Paso, back to Indiana, drove to Pennsylvania, back to Indiana, and I am right now bedridden with extremely high fevers, horrible migraines, and body aches. I am literally unable to even walk without being in excruciating pain. So thank you for bearing with me and being patient. I think I have just pushed myself to my limits and overexerted any amount of capacity of energy that I could possibly put out. Anyways, I'm literally dying. But I figured I would just still share this episode because I never shared it. But you're going to see that probably like the last half of it, or maybe the last quarter of it, I'm going on and on and on about the Titan submersible, which it's not really a laughing matter, but you'll hear me be very in-depth and dramatic about it because it had just happened. We were in the depths of the whole Titan submersible situation at the time, but now I'm sure all of you guys know all of the details, so I'm sorry to talk your ear off about that. However, the beginning of the episode are some updates that I do want you to know, and I got a little bit deep into some mental health stuff and just some things that I do want you to hear and know about. But for now, I'm just gonna throw this episode up there in the world and say thank you guys for being here and for being patient with me and waiting. And I have so much more good stuff that I'm sure you've seen sneak peeks of online if you've been following along on my journey. We'll get into all of that next week. I'm really excited to share some good, happy news. But this depression is hitting me really hard right now because I was just literally sick and dying. And I used to have someone very close to me in my life that would take care of me. I wouldn't have to lift a finger. I was treated like an absolute princess, a queen, just absolutely loved on and catered to in these horrible, sickly moments, and I don't have that anymore. And I'm trying not to get emotional here, but I've just been really riding the struggle bus, okay? So here's this freaking old ass episode. And I will talk to you guys when I'm in a better state of mind next week. Okay, love you, bye. Then it's a bye, puta. Also, just a disclaimer, very sorry about the audio. I was in my car basically the entire episode, so the road noise is very loud. I didn't have a microphone, and my phone is very old. It's not anything to do with the app that I'm always talking about. My phone is just an iPhone, and they want you to update them every 30 minutes, and I haven't done it for like 30 years, so we're just all on the struggle bus here, okay? You're gonna have to deal with it. Okay, bye. CarCast. It's a CarCast. It's a yabba dabba doo da. You know, I'm gonna yabba doo da. Why do I sing this? I don't know where I got this from, but I'm in the car, and it's a CarCast. Hi world, it's Jengwin, and welcome back to Ill for Real, where life is like a box of chocolates, cause you never know what you're gonna get. And this is where someone comes in and is supposed to say, I love you, Jenny. Anyways, here we go. I'm about to drink a Celsius and be even more hyper than what I am. I am on the road to the beautiful land of Ohio. Why? Because this is where we plan to have a bachelorette party. I don't know anything about Ohio. But apparently there's some nice rivers that we can float down in tubes, and a really nice spooky cabin in the middle of the woods that we're going to stay at. My friend Peyton, whose wedding this is that we are celebrating, loves everything Halloween and spooky, and she's basically my only friend that will watch scary movies with me year round. Like literally every time I go to her house, we are watching scary movies all night long. And it's just so her, it's her vibes, it's her style. And so I'm heading there to hopefully get there on time to decorate. before she gets in and have a spooky, girly, bloody bachelorette party. Not bloody in that way, though. Bloody in a Halloween way. Hopefully it's not bloody in that way. I don't know. You never know what you're gonna get. What am I saying? Okay, I'll be right back. Because there's a really big roadkill and it's making me want to throw up. Oof. That's a deer. Oh dear. We got cows. Okay, couple things, guys. I'm sorry, I know I'm really loud, so I'm going to try not to scream and be all loud and obnoxious. Low power mode. Oh my gosh, I already have low battery. Number 2, there's something in my dash that wiggles and jiggles and jingles and tingles, and it's so annoying with the vibration of the road. You probably can't hear it because I have the enhancement mode on, but it's annoying the shit out of me. Which brings me to number 3, adjust your earphones now, because I have absolutely no microphone, which is nice that I can do that with this app for my podcast and record wherever I am, but I'm just on my literal phone right now with no microphone, no tiny mic or anything. So it would be really windy if I didn't put this enhancement mode, but when I put the enhancement mode on, it's like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh sounding. I'm sure you hear it. I'm sorry, it's very annoying, but just adjust to your liking. Okay, thank you. Then that little intro that I recorded, I saw the I saw the deer on the side of the road, and so I clicked, end recording, and then I used my AirPods for the speech text and told Siri to title that little segment CarCast, so that when I'm in editing, I know which little recordings to put into my episode for the CarCast. But it auto-corrected to carcass. And I was like, carcass? No, carcat. And I was about to edit it, and I was like, I found today's episode title. It's a carcass. I literally saw, I can't. It was perfect, and it just made me laugh, so I thought I would share that little tidbit with you. I'm gonna troll the description. Anyways, I don't even know what I was gonna talk about now. I'm just distracted by the puns. The puns. It's forever now gonna be called a carcass. Okay. I gotta remember what I was gonna talk about. This jingling is freaking annoying me. I'll be right back. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to yell. God, I promise I'm a woman of my word. I finally found it. I found the jingling and tingling. And I'm gonna share a picture on Instagram so you know what it is that I did to make it stop. I listened back, and you very much so could hear it in that audio, and that was super annoying. But I fixed it. Oh, and I feel so much better. I don't know how to permanently fix it, but my mini squishmallow octopus just made my day. Any hoodles. I don't have Juliana here to yell at me about why I'm saying any hoodles. I've got a 6-hour drive ahead of me, and let's see how many miles. It was 126 miles. At this point, we're at 91 miles to go, and I'm not about to be behind this little tootin' and pootin' Honda with a cracked rear windshield. Anyways, don't get road rage, Jenny. Don't yell, don't yell. You told me you weren't going to yell into the microphone. So, I am recording this on June 23rd. I will be at Bachelorette till June 26th. Unfortunately, I have to leave a day early because I have a court date that day that I have to make it to at 9:30 in the morning. But I could have stayed till the 27th or 28th, so I'm a little bummed. But then when I get back, I have a couple days in town to get some work done, and then I have to leave on the 30th to go to El Paso, Texas. Guys, I'm just gonna be all over the freaking country. I'm very excited. I actually have set up my Jeep like a normal car, so I no longer have my little bed in here. I don't know if you've been following along online since I first started the SUV life. I used to have my bed across the back row, the the second row of seats, and then like in the trunk area is just where I had all my belongings, and it was pretty nice living that way. I didn't mind it. But then I put the seats down eventually and laid the entire back of the car open with my bed laying in it. But I'm just kind of like tired of not having a normal car setup, you know, and not being able to have passengers in here. So all that to say, I fixed it up for Father's Day. So I think I uploaded the last episode like on Father's Day or something, and I wasn't able to wish you guys a happy Father's Day, but I hope you guys had a good day and spent some time with family, or if you don't have family or a dad, sorry. I should say trigger warning. No, I was kidding. But yeah, I hope it was a good weekend, and happy belated Father's Day to all the daddies and sugar daddies and pet daddies and single daddies and married daddies, but not the cheating daddies, because y'all suck. Don't yell, Jenny. You promised them not to yell. So I fixed my Jeep up so that I can have my dad and my sisters and stuff in the car with me, and that was really nice. Oh, guys, can you hear that? I'm not on the freaking bumpy type of road anymore. I wonder if you can hear the change in road noise. Squirrel. Is there something that I can do for my earballs so that I'm not overly sensitive to that type of stuff? Like, honestly, it's like the worst type of anxiety feeling. I get very anxious and overwhelmed, and I'm purposely, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm trying to like speak very calmly as to not annoy the shit out of myself because of all of the extra noises going on around me. And you guys hear me talk about this every episode. I'm sure you hate me by now and no one is listening to this. But if you know of something that I could do to get that fixed or checked out or something, please let me know, because I've actually never looked into this, but maybe there's something, because I am just so overly sensitive to annoyances. Only I'm allowed to be annoying, not everything else. But where was I going with this? Yeah, so I'm driving with my Jeep set up like a normal car, and it's actually really, really nice. Like, I just looked in the back, and it's my seats sitting up, and it's clean, and there's, well, it's not really clean, but it's tidy and spacious, and I can have guests in my little house car. And I still don't, for those of you who are wondering, have my cigarette lighter fixed. I went to Jiffy Lube yesterday, and we gotta whip out the Celsius. It's about time. I haven't cracked it open yet, but I'm yawning, so it's time. I went to Jiffy Lube to have them top off all my fluids and check my tires and stuff like that. And they checked my battery and everything is good. I told them about the fuse blowing and that it's probably a wiring issue, but I didn't have time, money, or patience to sit and figure that out if they could fix the wiring issue for me. I'm sure it would be like $5,000 anyways, and so I gotta figure out how to get this fixed at some point. Maybe I can learn and do it myself, and then do it on live and humiliate myself as I have with this camper project. Because if you've been following along on TikTok, I have updated a little bit on Instagram on the subject, but I am officially started, I don't know if I mentioned this in my last episodes or not, but I've officially started the camper renovations. Whoo, guys. I wore my Sweet V tiaras and crowns every time I work on it, because I just want to feel like a princess. I want to feel like a queen. I want to feel like this is my kingdom. I own it. I do what I want. I fix what I want, and I throw to the garbage what I don't want, you peasants. But yeah, I want to make like funny content out of it. I love the satirical humor. I like when people like just assume I'm really stupid and dumb and just a silly little girl wearing a tiara, fixing my camper. I do like the help and the tips and the pointers and stuff like that online, so the people who understand me and my humor, they are very helpful and they don't make me feel like I'm stupid, you know? But I just wanted to make goofy content out of it because it's hilarious. Like, it's not very often that I see like a young girl by herself, like, oh, sorry myself, a young woman fixing a camper that she wrecked with not really any outside help. I mean, I have help if I need it from one person, but I want to learn and do it myself. So far I have taken out all of the old ass vintage screws and nails, and I was prying with crowbars and 5-in-1 tools, which I never knew about. These 5-in-1 tools are amazing. Oh my gosh, that thing is just, it really is all in one. It's an all-in-one tool. If you don't have a 5-in-1, look it up and get you one. But I have a 15-in-1, apparently. It just does literally everything. Like, don't know how to wipe your own butt? 15-in-1 tool is going to do it for you. So, worth it. And then I removed the side wall of the aluminum siding that was all damaged up to expose the studs and the beams and the insulation and things like that. And it is so old. My gosh, these studs are not even like the measurements that we use nowadays for lumber and things like that. So it's going to be very interesting. Apparently I have to learn how to rip wood and get them to size so that they'll fit, and I'm going to have to sister some boards, which that part looks easy, but my concern right now is the tools. I don't have saws, and so I have to be asking people for their saws, because I honestly am not going to buy a saw for myself because I don't need one. I don't want to keep those types of tools. I don't have a necessity or a place for them. So that's just kind of annoying. I have to like ask around and borrow tools, and then if I don't know how to use it, I do like to have like a person in front of me explaining things or showing me how to do it once, rather than, oh, look at this dangerous tool that can take off my entire arm and leg. Let me look up a YouTube tutorial. I'm fine with doing that, but also I'm doing these live streams and I don't want to look like a complete idiot. But so that's where I'm at right now. For anybody who's been asking about how the progress on the camper is going, it's at a standstill because I needed to get lumber and the weather wasn't the greatest. It's covered up with a tarp right now, and I've really been trying hard to find where I can get the aluminum siding because I want it to match. You guys know how old she is, and the beautiful character and care that they put into this thing. I want it to look the same as best as I can to get it how it was. And then I've been looking into like sealants for wood, the wood pieces that are damaged but not necessarily bad enough to cut out and sister out. You know, I want to salvage as much as I can. And so I want to protect it from mold and mildew or anything like that, and I got to get all kinds of seals because I don't want any other water damage to get in there, because once I took off the wall and exposed what was there, it does look like previous water had gotten in. It looks like they closed things up, but you never know. Like, water can seep into any tiny little crack and crevice, and I just want to avoid that. But honestly, I'm not sure if I'm going to get super into like the old flooring, like the old plywood that's under the flooring. As long as it's good, it's safe, it's not like crumbling or whatever, I can replace that maybe later down the road. But right now my focus is just getting it done by at least September, November. It's pretty nice in Indiana these years in the fall. It's like all of our seasons have shifted, so I think I'll be good working on it into November. I'm just anxious because Indiana really gets to me, and lately it's not even so much Indiana. Like, I really do kind of like my hometown and my little places and spots that I'm comfortable in, and the weather's nice right now, but guys, there is just so much chaos in everyone's life around me that I know in Indiana, and I look back and I have a completely different perspective right now on life and circumstances and friends and family. And I'm honestly like, was this my life? Was this what I was doing? Is this what was happening behind the scenes and right in front of me that I just didn't even notice? And I have been neglecting myself overworking, bending over backwards. I'm not very good at saying no yet. You guys know that I'm working on that. But I have made progress on shyly and kindly setting boundaries. Some people think that me doing that and setting those boundaries is not kind of me, and there has just been all kinds of drama around here. And then the people who I want to keep in my life, or even like immediate family, you know, that I'm not going to cut out, there's just so much. I'm pulled in a million different directions, every which way, every freaking hour. It seems like something is happening and popping up, and I am needed, and that's fine. And I'm going to get a little bit deep right here before I get into just fun stuff. Or I don't know what this is going to turn into. I don't really have anyone to play games with, so we're just going to get into it. I'm anxious to leave Indiana, and you guys know from following along online, I've said that a million times on here, but there's always something new. And recently I had a really terrible experience with a couple people in my life. Not the big event that you guys have been curious about for years, but just something very traumatic happened. And I might have mentioned it in my last episode. I honestly don't remember, because I think I've been blacked out for like 2 weeks now. My friends have told me that since this traumatic event happened a few weeks ago, that I came over to their house, we were hanging out, we were eating this, and we were talking about that, and I was telling them this story about something fun that happened. They're like, I know, you told me. And I was like, when did I tell you this? Like, when you came over the other night and we were talking for hours. And I was like, what? When was that? Like, I wasn't drunk or anything. I am just in a daze. And I'm so curious, has this happened to anyone else? Has anyone experienced this type of feeling? I've been through a lot of traumatic events in my life, but I don't think I've blacked out the way I did recently, which maybe is just all the trauma catching up to me because of everything that my body physically and mentally has been through in the past year or two. I think maybe it's catching up to me because I genuinely do not remember these conversations, these moments that I was hanging out with friends, and that's really sad. And it hurts really bad, honestly. But I reunited with this person a few days after they did what they did, and they apologized, and they apologized to the other people involved, and it was kind of like a rude awakening to them. And they were like, I think this is what needed to happen. I'm not happy that it did, but so that I would wake up and change and, you know, for example, stop drinking and things like that. Like, it was just a wake-up call, which is fine. Wake-up call should make up fall. Like, do what you need to do. Life, can it just stop happening with me being involved? Like, I would like for people to have their wake-up calls not around me anymore. I have always been the person to be like, oh my gosh, I would love to be a part of someone's life like this, and see change and witness it for some. No, I don't want it anymore. I've been through too much. I don't want to see your wake-up calls, and I don't want to be involved in near-death situations ever again. Like, ever again. I'm done life. I'm done. I'm tired of it. Tired of it. So, as I'm having this conversation, it's probably past midnight at this point. We're at round the clock eating disgusting food. Squirrel. Do not go to round the clock. It is so nasty. I went there decades ago, and I had a mosquito in my lemon rice soup, and I was like, I'm never coming here again. Next time I went, there was a fly in my soup again, because I always get soup. Ew. I just want to throw up now. It's so nasty. And then I get a BLT. I'm like, this is the crappiest BLT I've ever had in my life. Then this time I get, I don't know, some nasty ass salad with their old ass dressing. And then they bring me out a burger, and they ask me how I want it cooked. And I'm like, medium to medium rare. And I said it, I didn't say it like that, like with an attitude, but I was like, medium rare. And she's like, okay, that's good. And I was like, medium rare, actually. Like, I confirmed, I want medium rare. The most burnt freaking hockey puck of a burger. Oh my god, it was disgusting. Don't yell, Jenny. It was so nasty. Don't go around the clock. but it was the only thing that was open. So we're having this serious conversation. I get a phone call from a close friend that's a recent friend in my life, one I care about very much so. And they're crying because someone basically was drunk and tried doing things that they shouldn't be doing to themselves in front of people, but everybody was intoxicated, and so it was traumatizing for them, and they're trying to get their friend out of this lake and whatever. And I was the person that they called in that moment. I'm looking at this other person in my life across the booth from me at round the clock, looking at me like, what's wrong? What just happened? And you can just see on my face, I was just honestly just done. I was like, I'm done with life. I cannot handle this anymore. I am so grateful that my friend who called me in that moment called me, and that I am a person that they can feel safe with, to talk to, and comfortable with telling these things and crying for the first time. I've never seen them emotional. This person does not show very much emotion at all, but especially not like that with me. And so I was kind of like shocked and surprised, and then honestly I was like, are they being serious? I don't know what's happening right now. So I'm just going to say family member, so that you know, my family member sitting across the booth from me sees this just like depleted energy of mine and this look on my face. And they're like, you know what? Jenny, just be grateful that that's who you are to people. You're an angel. You're an angel sent here. Like, I'm like stumbling over my words. I can't remember how they said it. But basically they were just saying, you're an angel, and people feel loved and safe and comforted by you and to call. Like, you are that person. You're that person in our lives. All of us call you. I called you. They called you. She called you. He called you. And you're the person that we go to because you've always been there. And you're just an angel. I don't know where we would be without you. And they were like, you saved my life. You saved so-and-so's life that was involved in this traumatic situation. You saved us. And I think that you were literally just sent here on earth to be an angel. And I sat there with the most, I wish that I could show you my face right now. Again, depleted, shoulders dropped down, like face completely just no emotion whatsoever, not even a frown, just blank expression, droopy eyes. And I was like, I don't want to be an angel. I'm tired of being angel. And if I was sent on this earth to be an angel, I'm done with my calling. Please make me a real angel, and Jesus, take the wheel. It's going to sound terrible with that audio right now. Take me from this land. I don't want to anymore. And in that conversation of them saying that, I was like, I should be flattered. I should be honored. This should be something I'm proud of, that people feel like that with me. But I'm just so, all I wanted to scream right then in their face was, where the F is my angel? When is my angel coming? Where's my angel? Who is my angel? And like, who can I call? Because last night something else happened with a different friend, kind of petty, kind of not. It's pretty much a big deal to me. I don't know how to explain this situation without giving away information. Gosh, just all of my life is so private. This is where subscription episodes are coming in. Like, I want to just tell you these actual stories and you will get them. But the situation happened with a friend last night, and I'm washing the dishes, and like right now I'm driving. You start thinking more deeply. You're washing the dishes, doing this monotonous routine of a thing, and you start thinking, and I was like, I don't know who I can call. I don't have someone that I can call like that every single time something happened to me. There's one person in my life that has been that person to me, and they just literally don't want me. They're not in my life. They betrayed and hurt me, almost killed me, and I can't call them. And every now and then, I do still call them during traumatic events, and it just ends up hurting me more. But I don't have an angel to call, when I need a freaking angel. And I was trying to imagine if someone's kid fell down the stairs, an emergency happened, would my friends call me? I think they would. Like, you have certain friends for certain things. I think my family would. If someone got into a car accident and they called 911 or whatever, and the next person they called, like, who's the next person? I think to some people I'm that person. I don't know who I would call, because the person that I want to call, there's no reason. They're nowhere near me. They don't want to be a part of my life. They don't care if I am alive or dead. They don't love me. But they have been that my whole life, so it's very, very, very hard for me to get used to it. And I could say my parents, but to be honest, I've been through a lot of traumatizing events with both of my parents that it's not that I think I can't call them, I just don't want to. Like, I don't feel my safest and happiest calling them. I feel like I'm gonna be, why were you doing this, and where were you, and where were you going, and what were you thinking? But like, it's just constantly like I'm being judged or being scolded, and it can never just be like, here I am, I'm here, like, don't say a word. They don't understand, like, my whole life. I'm talking a lot on my podcast right now, but I don't talk a lot anymore in person with people unless I'm very, very, very comfortable with you. Can we just sit in silence? Just everybody please be quiet. Like, I just want to be here with you and you be here with me, and we can talk about important things. But if it starts getting out of hand, or we're arguing, or there's a disagreement, I just don't want it anymore. Like, it does not matter. If somebody walked up to us right now and shot us through the head at this given moment, what does it matter? And outside of the things that don't matter, do I matter to you or not? Do I feel safe? Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel loved? And again, not like I don't feel safe or loved by my parents. I just don't. They're not my go-to people to call. And I wish that was different. And I do have friends. Like, I don't want any of my close friends to listen to this and be offended by this, but I'm pretty sure that the ones that are in my life that I could call for certain things, they understand. They know what I'm talking about. They know where I'm coming from. They won't get offended or mad at me. But I have a very close friend that's like, if I need someone to smack me across the face and whip me into shape, we're going to go out and have a good time and distract me, I have that friend. If I have a friend that's like going to come with me to slash someone's tires, I have that friend. If I have a friend that is going to drive to the airport in the middle of the night, because I called multiple people when I was stuck at O'Hare Airport after coming from Colorado till 3 o'clock in the morning. No one answered. No one wanted to come. It was too far. They had to wake up too early. Sorry, can you get an Uber? Like, I'm being honest right now. I didn't have money for an Uber, so no, that's why I'm reaching out to you, because you said I can call you no matter what, and they're just not there. I have one friend that I have called in that situation, and I know that they'll be there. I think some of my others would pull through and do that, and I'm not trying to talk shit about my friends right now. I'm just trying to explain where my brain has been. I love my friends to death, and I am very, very grateful for them. But I feel like all of these different sections and groups of people combined in my life, whereas maybe I have one that I can go to for certain situations, and I am appreciative of that till the day I die. I feel like I just sound like a bitch saying this. Somebody out there is going to be like, oh, everybody can come to you, but you can't go to... I don't want it to come off like that. That's not what I mean, but that's what it feels like right now. In Indiana, guys. I think it's just because I'm close by and I'm easily accessible, and I'm here and I'm expected to be at every family gathering and every birthday party and every child's this and child's that, and I have gotten nothing done for myself. I've gotten nothing done of what I need to do. I could have had this camper fixed and done by now, and it is not, because since I have been back home, I have been running around doing shit for everybody around me. And then I get really, really drained and very exhausted, and that's when you see me online. Where's Jenny? She's taking a break. Oh, mental health day, mental health check-in, because I get so freaking depressed that I need, as you guys know if you've been here a long time, I need 2 to 4 solid days to get it all out. And that is, I think, because I'm just very weak right now. I'm just very, very weak. And I don't know if anybody can relate to this. And I feel like I talk about the same things every episode, but in my mind, and because I black out and I don't remember shit, it's a different situation. And plus you don't know the stories and stuff, and I want to tell you the stories one day. But just in general, I don't know. I don't even know what some advice is to people who feel this way and who are going through this with me, because I'm just living it right now. And I don't know, I guess if I can think of advice to give if you're in this position, is just keep setting your boundaries, because you cannot keep depleting yourself and then pouring from an empty cup. My cup is very, very, very empty right now. And the little bit that is filled up is from those friends that I know will be there for different situations and different reasons, and because they love me and they genuinely are here and they care. But I don't have much more outside of that right now. Like, it's very low. And if you feel the same way, you have got to start setting boundaries, because if I hadn't started, like I said, shyly and kindly setting boundaries and being like, I don't want to say no, but I can't make any promises. I would love to be there, but I also really have this and I super duper have to do this. Like, that's how I'm setting my boundaries, and that's fucking pathetic. But keep doing that, because it does get slightly better the more you do. And there's just... people are going to leave your life when they're like, oh, great, cool, she just doesn't give... It's not true that I don't give a fuck about you. I'm being honest right now. When I'm better, I promise you I will be here 100%, but right now I'm not 100%, so I don't know what to tell you. And if you don't love me and care about me enough to keep me in your life when I'm at 10%, then honestly, you don't deserve to be in my life. Like, you just really do not deserve me and my time and my heart and my love. Because I give way too much of myself, and now is a time when I need you to give me like 5%, just so that I can have a 15% total in my fucking cup, because maybe I'll get 3 to 5% from someone else, and then I'll be at 20. Like, that's pathetic. They're gonna leave your life, and you don't need them in your life, continuously draining you. So I guess take what you will. But I just wanted to go a little bit further into that, just because nobody's ever really told me that before. I mean, people have told me like, oh, you're an angel, you're my angel, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't like a serious conversation where people were crying and there were near-death experiences. And then I get phone calls from another near-death experience. Like, it was just a lot. And in that moment, I feel like any other time in my life, I'd be like, I appreciate you saying that about me, and I hope you know that I'm going to be here no matter what, and you can always call me or whatever. But I'm literally to the point where I'm like, please don't call me. I'm going to implode. But I want you to call me. I do. I genuinely want you to call me, and I don't want people to be like, oh, great, I'm not going to talk to Jenny. I'm going to cut her out of my life, because I think that's why I'm losing more and more people, because I'm being honest about it online. I don't know which ones of my friends and family listen to these episodes, but those of you who do listen to it and you feel that way, like, oh, I'm just not going to call Jenny for anything. I'm not going to talk because she doesn't want to deal with it like that. I just don't have as much as I had before, and I'm healing. And I don't know if you can tell, but even my voice compared to 6 months ago is very different. I'm healing, and it's going to take me a long time because of how many years I was involved with friends and family that I've lost. It's going to take me a long time to heal, and I just need patience. And if you have other people in your life that are going through shit that you've never experienced, that you don't know about, and they're acting different and strange and depressed, and they're not fun anymore, and they're not there for you anymore, please just give them some grace. Put yourself in their shoes. Have empathy, compassion, and patience for these people. That's it. Which brings me to something, it's also depressing, but it's more lighthearted. Not really. Actually, it's pretty depressing. But people are making light of it. The freaking Titanic situation. Guys, how do we feel about this Titanic situation going on? I'm going to take a little break and come right back and jump into this. We're gonna get deep. Sorry. Ew, for real.
We're gonna laugh. I might cry and I'm gonna wanna tell you why, because hey, well that's just life.
I'm in standstill traffic. I was finally gonna be early to something for once in my life, and then something always has to fucking go wrong, so I'm like an hour behind now. Apparently there's an accident. These poor people, like, just the worst. Accidents make me sad. Like, who's that person? Where were they going? What were they doing? Are they okay? Anyways. This Titanic thing. I'm sure you know all the details. I am not one to ever know information on any type of news story out there in the world, because I try to avoid news channels, depressing stuff online, articles. But I've heard so much about this one. I don't even know. Maybe it was TikTok or Instagram or both. But I was so jealous because I am a Titanic fanatic. And had I had the money, I would have been on that submarine to go see the Titanic. Like I said, I'm sure you heard about it, but if you haven't, a submarine full of billionaires. I don't know how to tell stories. 5 billionaires walked into a bar. Oh no, Jenny, don't contribute to the memes. 5 billionaires went down into a little it's called a I can't remember the word for it, but it's like a submarine, but smaller. Submarine to go visit the Titanic site. Okay? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Oh my gosh. Sorry, that was a bad one. A semi flipped. Wow, now I have a lot of time to make up for sitting in that traffic. A semi was completely flipped upside down, and the whole like box part of it, the metal part, had ripped off of the axle and the wheels or whatever, and all of the shit from the semi was poured out onto the road and the side of the road, and they had probably like 40 guys out there trying to get this guy out of his truck. Oh, that was so bad. I can't. What is happening in this world? Okay, rewind. Story. 5 men are lost at sea. They're all billionaires, one of which was a 19-year-old who was with his father on this submarine. They each paid 250,000 doll hairs to dive down into the ocean to visit the Titanic wreck. Sounds fun, right? Dream of my life. I would love to. The man that is controlling the submarine is controlling it with a PS3 controller. How? Why? I don't know. If they had made it, I probably would have thought that was a cool story. But apparently he took no precautions. They didn't take any safety measures. Yada yada. They were very ill prepared for visiting a wreck in the ocean, miles down in the deep dark abyss. It is so cold in these little tiny submarines. I can't remember what they call it. It's a sub something. It's like a submarine but smaller. Basically like a minivan version of a submarine is what they say. It is so cold. They had to bundle up and, be all warm. It's freezing in the ocean. And they paid $250 hairs to freeze their asses off and poop in a bucket. There's like a plastic bag or something that they were all peeing and pooping in. But, they want this experience. And they're rich. They got some extra money this month to go visit the Titanic. Apparently it was like a 12-hour dive it was going to be, I believe, is what they said. Don't hold me to any of this. I'm not a news source. I'm just giving you the information that I know. An hour into the dive, they lose connection with the, for lack of the word, because I'm dumb and I don't know what the word is, traffic controllers. You know how someone's telling the guys flying the planes, the pilots, turn 30 degrees, west, east, 90 degrees. Immediately no. They're doing that in the freaking ocean, okay? They lose connection. How you lose connection and then lose a submarine, I don't understand. But apparently they couldn't find the submarine. They were lost. You know where the Titanic site is, right? You know where these people were diving. You're getting coordinates and updates on where they're turning and how deep they are. How do you lose them? How do you not be like, this is where they are. We just lost connection. Let's go. Like, what were you doing? Dilly-dallying? But somehow, some way, they got lost. Inside this submarine, they had a certain amount of hours worth of oxygen before you run out. And it was like, I don't know, 96 hours or something. Or it might have been more. And it was just one of the updates that I saw was at the time it was 96 hours of oxygen left. We're getting updates on Instagram every 30 minutes. All the news sources are talking about this lost submarine. And once they're out of oxygen, that's it. You're passed out, you're dead in the middle of the ocean, lost. So it had been days and, it's running out. Oh, they've only got 72 hours worth of oxygen left. They've only got 48 hours worth. And apparently, as of today, June 23rd, yesterday, they finally released, we're no longer searching for this. They are lost. They are nowhere to be found. They're not going to be found. We are assuming that they are dead. The memes online are horrible. A lot of people are like laughing and stuff about it. Don't get me wrong. I am very much so a fan of dark humor and, we joke about the Titanic and stuff like that. And it's really not funny because hundreds of people, thousands of people died. 1,500. So I think it's too soon for the memes. There's a woman who lost her son and her husband, because they wanted to pay $500,000 to go see the Titanic. And her son was like, hey, if I die, I died on an adventure, Good for him, but also you're 19, his whole life, his poor mother. But people are making memes and making very, very light of it because they're billionaires. And they're like, well, you're stupid and, eat up the rich people and the ocean is doing it for us. And I'm going to get into that. Anyways, I'm going to finish the story. So they're saying we don't know what happened to them. They could have, everybody's obviously assuming they imploded. the submarine imploded, which means burst from the inside out because of the pressure in the ocean of all the water and everything. They said with being that deep that a puncture the size of a tip of a needle-sized puncture or crack or anything hitting them is enough to cause that thing to go boom. But they were like looking around the Titanic, you know, the Titanic is covered in bacteria from the ocean. They say there's so much bacteria down there eating up that shipwreck that in a couple decades, it's probably not even going to be there anymore. So there's that much shit going on. It's crumbling, it's cracking and falling apart. They could have been underneath something on the ship and it fell on them and it made the thing explode. They could have, I don't know, a whale or a shark like bumped into that thing too hard and it would have exploded. Again, remember they didn't take any good precautionary measures. They could have crashed too hard into a wall and it could have whatever, you know, a hairline of a crack is enough for something down there that far in the ocean to blow up. People are also saying do not exclude sea monsters. There could be something down there that just swallowed them up and that's why we can't find any freaking evidence. But apparently the update after all of this is we've found debris. They found some like cone shaped, I don't know if it was like plastic or metal or something that's like, oh, this is evidence that it was from the submarine. But apparently there's a field of debris somewhere that is making them assume that they are all dead. Again, we don't know what happened. So I just think that is crazy. I don't know how they lost them. I think it is so freaking sad. It's wild. To be honest, if I was gonna go, I would probably want to go doing something like that. Like, I don't know, maybe this 19-year-old, it was his dream to see the Titanic and he died, you know, following his dreams. This tire, oh my god, the chaos. The tire on this truck next to me is wobbling, toppling. I gotta get away from this truck because it looks like that tire is gonna fly off. Oh hell no, I've never seen a tire wobble like that. All these freaking tire treads all over the street. I'm not about to explode from a freaking tire. Immediately no. But then I heard there was a TikTok saying that a mortician gave an update that say we do find them one day and the submarine did not implode. It is so cold down there in the ocean, around that thing, inside that thing. It is so freaking cold. And the lack of oxygen inside the submarine, which is what would make them pass out, that if we found them and pulled them up, their bodies would be perfectly preserved. Because it's like a freezer, you know, you put dead bodies in a freezer to preserve them, basically. And their remnants would be fine, pretty much. I mean, they obviously wouldn't be alive or revivable, but they would be okay because it's a freezer. And you need oxygen to the body needs oxygen to decompose, and they have none. So that is a crazy fact that I really didn't think about, that if they find them, like, at least they're not finding bits and pieces of their bodies everywhere, you know? But the odds of them finding them is literally basically none. And then they were also saying, you know, they lost them and they're like, oh, we've got 48 hours of their oxygen left. If we knew where they are right now, there they are, let's go, dive down and get them. There are no devices, there's no machinery or anything that can go that far into the ocean. There are so very little things that can go that deeply into the ocean. So why they were doing this in the first place, I don't know. It's kind of freaking insane. But there's nothing that can go in there and get them out. And the devices that we do have to go save them from the bottom of the ocean are not able to pull them out. What they would need is, like, I don't know, cables, something to guide them out of the water, to pull them out in the first place is literally a feat in itself. And if we did, it takes so long to bring them back to the surface of the ocean. It takes hours because you cannot do that quickly. Your body will explode from the depressurization. So they would have to be like beep, beep, boop, boop, like slowly pulling them out, that they would run out of oxygen before they even reach the surface, and they're gonna die anyways. And it was just like, it was basically impossible. It was a lost cause in the first place. Say they got to them in time and they were like, there they are, we gotta pull them out. Maybe we can make it to the surface. They've got 1 hour of oxygen left. You know, that would be a miracle. But say they had. This thing was bolted shut from the outside. It was covered in bolts, which if you're picturing what I'm picturing, they're probably gigantic bolts that take forever to unlock because it needs to be tight and sealed enough to go into the depths of the freaking ocean. It would take forever to even unbolt it and get them out. Like they would be gasping for air or passed out. It's so sad and so tragic and so dramatic. I get the humor and wanting to be like, they wanted a Titanic experience firsthand and they sure got one. Like the irony of them wanting to visit a sunken ship in the depths of the ocean where people died and then going down to the ocean to just be with them in that gravesite is crazy. And will I laugh about it in a few years? Maybe. But right now, I'm so sad by the lack of empathy in this world. And I'm not one to be like, oh, butthurt, and you have to take everything seriously. You guys know me. Like, take a joke, calm down. Not everything is so fucking serious all the time. But the day, like, people were livid that we were getting updates on this story every freaking... Excuse me? If that was your rich husband, would you not want an update every 30 fucking... Give me an update every 5 minutes, please. That's my 19-year-old son. Like, have some compassion. What is wrong with you? People were so upset. Like, I'm unfollowing this page. It was like puberty on Instagram. I'm sure you probably follow them. Everybody knows them. Crazy bitch probs, like pages like that where there's millions of followers. People are like, I'm unfollowing. We get it. They're lost in the ocean. Who gives a fuck about these rich people? They deserve to die anyways. Like, that is so freaking heartless. Why are you so mad at somebody because they have money and they're rich? Okay, they're all old white men except for this young teenager. Do you want to get up off your lazy ass and become a billionaire and then pay the money that you have because you worked hard for it to go visit the fucking Titanic because it was your lifelong dream? Like, stop with the freaking attitude. These are human beings that got lost in the ocean and their families have no idea what is going on, what ate them, if they exploded, if they've disappeared, if they are still down there. Like, the heartlessness of people online. Memes, fine, whatever. Crack jokes if you want to. Too soon, probably. But the heartlessness, because they're rich, I get it. But I don't, because they're freaking humans. I don't see the necessity to be like, somebody deserves to die because they're a rich white man. Ew. If it was a man of any other race, would you be saying the same thing? If it was a woman, would you be saying the same thing? If it was freaking... Can you imagine if one of those people was Elon Musk? Oh, the uproar. The uproar the world would be in right now because poor Elon. Oh no, our president's down there. I mean, a lot of people would be like, oh good, they deserve it. Oh, Trump went down there, he deserves it. But there would be so many more news articles out there, so many more updates, probably so much more efforts in this search and not as much carelessness and maybe more precautions taken if it was a freaking celebrity. But because it's some random rich man that you don't know, they deserve to die and their family deserves to suffer and lose their son and their husband and their uncle, their grandfather, their brother. Like, y'all are so freaking mean. That is so mean. Do I think other things should be covered in the news. Yes, I do. But I just do not get this heartlessness. It is so evil to me. I absolutely hate that. Also, I'm probably a little bit more sensitive to these things these days because of what I have gone through. And as much as I don't want to be alive sometimes, I do cherish life. Like, life is precious. They thought they were going to do something fun, and now look, they're gone. They're literally lost in the fucking ocean. Have a heart. But another thing that I want to look into, I'm actually going to pull up a YouTube video on it right now while I drive because I haven't heard the story yet, but people are in an outroar because this story was getting more news coverage than the ship in, where was the ship in? See, I don't know the information because I haven't seen as much of it online, but apparently there was a ship with a bunch of refugees from, I don't know why, I want to say the Philippines, and I don't think it was the Philippines, but another country. There was a refugee ship of like 500 people or 700 people, and 500 of them have died or are lost at sea. We can't find them. They haven't been rescued. They haven't heard anything back. There's not as many updates, and people were like, why are we not getting updates on this? It's because nobody cares about the refugees. We only care about the rich people. And I just went on a tangent about how I don't know these people. Does it affect my life? No. Do our rich people suck sometimes? Yeah, I guess, but you don't know who these people are. But there's a ship of refugees that are not getting as much coverage. And look, I am uneducated in what is happening in that news story because it's true. They're not covering it enough. And is that fair? No, I hate that. Should we also be caring as much as we do about this Titanic excursion? Yes, we should. But that's why I'm going to go and look up the information and follow the story on that, because that's also horrible. Like, I cannot imagine that many people. It's like the Titanic happening all over again. And we have so many news sources and so many, how much the world has changed since 100 freaking years ago on the Titanic. Why is shit like this still happening? And just literally what is happening. So if you haven't heard the story or gotten updates and stuff on that, I would look into that as well, because it's an important topic and I'm curious, and I wish the best for these families, and I hope to God that they are found and that people can be rescued, because that is just the worst freaking, I don't know, worst freaking news to get on a family, a loved one. But then also there was a story on the kid that jumped off of a freaking pirate ship into the ocean. And I just saw the video last night because it was popping up in my search for this whole Titanic thing. Apparently, the ocean is just freaking eating everyone. But there was a high school graduation celebration. This 18-year-old kid was on it's called a pleasure boat, which, why are these kids on a thing called a pleasure boat, a freaking pirate ship? They were celebrating their high school graduation in the ocean that is reportedly very shark-infested waters. And they were all drunk, which, why are they getting drunk on a ship at 18? Excuse me, bitch? What is happening? Who is watching these children and these men going into the ocean? But apparently, they were all drunk on this ship, and they dared him. They're like, oh, bitch, just jump in the ocean. He jumps into the ocean, and, you know, it's like this big ship. Basically, there's all these tidal waves, and not tidal waves. The waves from the ship. The freaking, what is the word I'm looking for? God, I never know any words. Anyways, he jumps in. They're trying to get him out, so they throw him an orange buoy. He starts swimming towards the buoy to get out of the water. And then you see him in a video. I saw this on TikTok. He looks at the buoy, stops, turns around, and starts frantically swimming the other way. And you can see in the water, he saw something in there. We're assuming because it's shark-infested waters that it was a shark. It could have been a swordfish. To me, it looks like it could have also, you know, how like dolphins follow ships. It could have been a dolphin, but it was a pitch black. It was like 10 o'clock at night. He jumps into the ocean. You see something freaking swimming at you in the ocean. Trust me, you're going to turn around and want to freaking swim the other way. The buoy was like right next to whatever this was in the ocean. He swims away, and then they're screaming, and who knows, he could have gotten taken under the ship. He could have gotten swiped up from another shark. There was a video on TikTok showing the area where they were at in the Bahamas is so shark infested. They had these fishermen throwing chunks of meat off of the side of a ship, and you can see just dozens of sharks. Like, they're so infested that any little splash or action on the surface of the water, just a massacre of sharks. So they're assuming that that's what happened, but he could have also just got pulled under from the propellers, etc. But that is so freaking sad, and people are making jokes about this, and this also had more news coverage than the ship of refugees, so I understand the frustration with that, but it's not funny. Somebody literally lost their child in the ocean. That the family is reportedly saying, please stop with the shark attack jokes and assuming that that's how he died. Like, their family does not want to imagine their son being torn apart by sharks, and people are making so many jokes online, and I'm sure if you are this family, it's like hard to avoid the internet. You've got to be on your phone. People are probably calling, sending their condolences, posting on their Facebook. Like, you go online and that's the first thing that pops up, and that's they're hearing about their son being attacked by a shark. But it is so freaking sad that this kid lost his life that way, trying to swim to a buoy and getting scared. Can you imagine the last moments of your life being scared to death that a shark is there in front of you, so you're swimming away, and then that's it? Your life's over, whether you did get attacked by sharks or you got sucked under the ship. And all of those kids watching, like, they witnessed that. Some of them were like laughing and being like, bye bye, and like joking, and like, what do you mean bye bye? That's not funny. He's over the edge of a ship at night. Like, help your friend get out of the water. Why are you making jokes? You guys are all drunk. And it's just so sad. Again, maybe that's a way that he would want to go out at that age, like celebrating his high school graduation, partying, and doing something really super fun on the ocean. But it is horrific, the jokes that people are making about this lady's rich husband and son. Like, you know that man was like, hey, can Bobby come with me? Like, I don't know his name honestly either, but I'm sure he asked the mom if the kid was allowed to tag along, and she was probably like, absolutely not. No, first of all, let's save $250,000. Second of all, no, you're not going. And then convince the mom that he's going, and now she lost both of them. Like, it's a horrible, horrible situation. Y'all just have some freaking empathy. But that just got me going off on a tangent, because it's the same lack of empathy that people have for situations that they haven't experienced. Your friends that have been through traumatic events, and they have just put themselves into a dark shell of a hole, and y'all don't have some empathy and compassion to put yourself in these people's shoes. I've had a handful of people not be capable of putting themselves in my shoes. I know you haven't been through this. No one that I know close to my life personally has been through this exact situation, and you know all of the details and how horrific and traumatizing it has been, and you cannot try to imagine what you would feel like. You're just going to learn from my mistakes and not do that stupid shit that so-and-so did or that Jenny's doing, because you're so insensitive and you have such a lack of empathy and compassion. I just don't like it. It is really gross. It is not a good trait to have. It ain't cute. Not cute. Don't do it. Just don't do it. That was really heavy, but there's some news. I never really share news, and I just think that it's freaking wild, all the stuff happening in the ocean right now. Honestly, it's just wild. But what did you guys think of last week's episode? The freaking cashews and the asparagus and the Brussels sprouts and the shark. Oh my God, speaking of the ocean, the shark eggs. There's been a lot of talk about sharks around here. You guys shared some little things with me on Instagram. I asked you guys to give me some more like fun information about stuff and how things grow, and I'm going to look into that right now and share some more of that info with you, and then end on a positive note here, because I'm getting ready for this bachelorette and I want to have some fun, and I don't want to be all down and depressed and dark. It's starting to get gloomy out here. There's rain clouds starting to come out, and immediately no, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good week. 4th of July is coming up soon. I'm going to fix this fucking camper. You're going to look at yourself in the mirror and you're going to say, I love you, bitch. I love you, bitch. don't forget to love yourself, be kind to yourself, give yourself grace, set your boundaries, give people in your life grace, and respect their boundaries. And that is all. Now off to some lighter topics. Then I said bye, puta. Okay, so an actual update. As of yesterday, June 27th, there was a conference with the National Coast Guard talking about the Titanic submersible. That's the word I was looking for. It's called a submersible, and ironically, it is called the Titan. So it's just catastrophic. Basically, they've labeled it as a catastrophic implosion, and the debris field from the vessel was discovered 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic. So someone had asked the question, was it an implosion or was there a collision with the Titanic which caused a wreckage? And they said that where the debris from the Titan submersible was found, there are absolutely no remnants of the Titanic there. There's no wreckage from the Titanic in that area. It's a completely flat seabed, and the remnants that they found, the debris in that field, contained the nose and the tail cone of the device, of the submersible, and some other parts. It was a pretty large debris field, which entails that it was the entirety of the vessel, and there was an implosion and not a collision. And then someone had asked, was it in that moment that they lost connection that we believe the timing happened of the implosion? So it must have just been, like the water pressure that made the device implode. And they are saying that since they lost connection with the submersible and they started the search and rescue in the deep sea, that they laid out sonar devices and sonar buoys to listen for any types of noises and things like that, and there were no signs of a catastrophic implosion after the search. So they don't have the exact information, and they are still researching the timing of the events, but it is believed to be that when they lost connection at about an hour into the excursion, that is when the device imploded, and they were 1,600 feet away from the Titanic, which is horrible. And there are no leads right now as to finding the bodies of the deceased, but they are going to continue researching and exploring down there to see if they find any more information on the timing and the remains of the crew. I also have their names, and they are from a handful of different countries, and so they said that this search and rescue was extensive because they were from all over the world, and that made it such a catastrophic and headlining story, which is why it was such big news. Because they weren't just, from explorers from America having fun, like they were from all over the world, and this is their information. We have Hamish Harding, who was a British explorer. I'm very sorry for the pronunciation of his name, but Shahzada Dawood, who is a Pakistani businessman. His son, Suleiman Dawood. Then we have Paul Henry Nargolet, who was a Titanic expert, and Stockton Rush, who was the Ocean Gate CEO. So those are the 5 men that perished in this terrible, catastrophic implosion in the ocean of the Titan submersible. It was an ROV, which is a remote operated vehicle from Canada, that found the debris field, not another, submersible or submarine of any type that was down there. They were able to see this remotely. And there are reports that at some point they heard a lot of banging noises in the ocean, and it was about every 30 minutes, which is horrible to think of, that, you know, they could have been pounding on the insides of the walls, hoping that somebody would hear them. Other people were saying that it could have just been sounds, banging and clanging of the Titanic itself, because it is still deteriorating, and pieces fall from the Titanic shipwreck often, and hitting the ocean floor would cause a big banging sound. So it's not clear on whether or not it was from the submersible itself. And there was a report also that at some point, I believe it was a helicopter that was flying over the ocean, or some sort of aircraft, had reportedly seen a minivan size white looking shape in the ocean, and they thought maybe that was them. So they were headed to that area, thinking that they had found them, but in that moment they heard big banging sounds in the ocean in a different direction, so they continued to head towards the sounds that they heard. So there's a lot of just controversy on whether or not this could have been avoided. Like, should they have kept heading to that white looking object in the ocean, knowing that the submersible was white itself, and maybe they could have been found? Was the banging and clanging sounds a distraction that took away from finding them? Not like a distraction planted there on purpose, but is it possible that they could have been found? Have we not heard these sounds in the ocean that came from who knows where? But altogether, it's just a terrible, terrible, tragic event, and I just wanted to extend condolences here, because I can't imagine. I just cannot imagine getting that news about my loved ones. That's horrible, horrible. And you would think that by now these types of things would be avoidable with the technology that we have these days. However, for some reason, they let this exploration continue without having a certified, the craft itself was not certified in any way. It was not up to any type of safety standards or certifications from anywhere. And that's just wild to me, that you would not respect the ocean enough to take those precautionary measures when you don't even know what's down there. It's so sad. And this is a portion of the podcast where I inserted a lot of information that had to do with the refugee ship that was lost in the ocean, because I didn't want to leave them out like the rest of the internet was upset that was being done. And that whole segment literally just deleted itself. So again, right in the struggle bus. I'm sure you guys all know the information about this ship and the shark attacks and the Titan submersibles and everything. Thank you for bearing with me on this very weird, very outdated episode. But maybe somebody out there learned something or felt something. I don't know. I think everybody can take something from everybody. Wow, I'm just saying a lot of words now. Guys, I gotta be quiet. I gotta go back to bed. I got a really high fever, okay? My brain's not working. Beep, beep, boop, boop. Okay, see you guys next week. Love you. Then I say bye, puta.
So do